The police said it was a bear, but bears don't leave 20-inch footprints or mimic your friend's voice from the trees. I didn't believe in Bigfoot, even growing up in Washington State, where every third town has a wooden carving of one on Main Street. It was just a campfire story to me, until last summer. Four of us, me, my brother Dan, his girlfriend Kara, and our buddy Jason, planned a long weekend backpacking trip deep into the Olympic National Forest. No cell signal, no crowds, just mountains, trees, and the kind of silence that makes you hear your own heartbeat. The first day was perfect. We hiked 12 miles in, found a remote clearing beside a creek, set up camp, and joked about becoming Bigfoot bait. I even carved a little Sasquatch crossing sign into a log for laughs. That night, it got weird. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to a low, rhythmic thumping outside the tent. I thought maybe it was Dan chopping wood. But who chops wood in the dark? Then came the whistling. Not birdsong, not wind. This was deliberate. Too perfect. 3 sharp whistles like a signal. Jason whispered, "You hear that?" We stayed dead still, barely breathing. Something moved past our tent. Heavy steps. No crunching like a bear or elk. Just wait, as if the earth was being tested with each step. We didn't sleep much after that. The next morning, we found our cooler 30 feet from camp, smashed, and this massive handprint, bigger than any of ours, pressed into the lid. We laughed it off, blaming raccoons on steroids, but something in Kara's eyes said she didn't buy it. That night, Jason didn't come back. He'd gone to collect water from the creek. Said he'd be 5 minutes. After 20, we started calling his name. That's when we heard him calling back. Only, it wasn't quite him. It was his voice, but slow, off, like someone had heard him once and was trying to imitate him. Then silence. Dan and I grabbed our lights and headed down the path to the creek. Halfway there, we saw the footprints. Bare, human-shaped, but massive, and spaced far apart, like whatever made them didn't walk. It strode. We turned back. We were scared. Kara was gone. Only her boot remained, halfway out of the tent, like she'd been pulled straight from it. That night, we didn't sleep. We huddled by the fire with knives and bear spray, but deep down, we knew none of it would matter. Just before dawn, I saw it. Standing just beyond the firelight, taller than the tent, covered in dark hair, with these glowing amber eyes locked right on me. It didn't move. Didn't blink. It just watched. I shut my eyes and prayed. When I opened them again, it was gone. So was Dan. I ran. I don't remember how I got back to the ranger station. I just remember the ranger's face when I told him what happened. He didn't call me crazy. He just nodded and said, "You shouldn't have gone that far in." They filed it as a bear attack. But bears don't whistle. They don't mimic your friends. And they sure as hell don't leave 20-inch footprints in the mud.
Welcome, traveller, to Dreadwood Tales, a place where the shadows whisper and the unknown awaits. If you crave chilling stories of the eerie and unexplained, you're in the right place. But beware, your support fuels the darkness. Like, comment, and subscribe to keep the stories coming, and to shape what horrors we uncover next. Have a nightmare to share? A legend to explore? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become our next tale. Now, let's step into the dark together.
I was missing for 3 days. No food, no gear. I woke up in a cave miles from our campsite, with scratches across my chest and the name Eli carved into the rock. The thing is, none of us were named Eli. Let me start by saying I wasn't a believer. Bigfoot was a meme to me, something you joked about around a campfire with a beer in hand. But that changed last August. Changed forever. I'm not supposed to talk about it. The park ranger who found me told me very clearly to keep my mouth shut. But after the nightmares started, after I lost 2 of my best friends, silence felt worse. We were backpacking through Olympic National Forest, me, my cousin Jake, and his buddy Ty. Real remote stuff. We planned this trip for months, 4 nights deep in the backcountry, away from the world, no phones, no noise. The first 2 days were perfect. We fished, built the camp, cooked over the fire. But something felt off. The deeper we got, the quieter everything became. No birds, no insects, just this low, oppressive silence that made your skin crawl if you paid too much attention to it. Night 2, we found the first sign. A tree, massive, old, snapped in half. Not cut, not rotted, just broken, like someone had twisted it with bare hands. Jake joked about the big guy watching us. Ty laughed. I didn't. That night, we heard the knocks. 3 distinct whacks, like wood on wood, echoing from somewhere deep in the trees. Ty said it was branches falling, but we all knew it wasn't. Then the screams started. Far off, not human, not animal, just rage. This deep, primal howl that rattled something in your gut. We didn't sleep. On day 3, we found the footprints. Not one, not two, but a trail of them. Huge, easily 20 inches long, barefoot, spaced so far apart it made no sense. Whatever made them was either running or was 10 feet tall. We should have left then, but we didn't. That night, it took Jake. We were sitting by the fire, half dozing, when someone called out from the dark, "Jake!" Same voice, same tone, like a perfect echo of my cousin. He stood up, confused. "What?" he shouted. Again the voice, "Jake, help me," coming from the trees, deeper in. He grabbed a flashlight and went toward it. I yelled at him to stop. He looked back, confused, like something was pulling him. Then he was gone. I ran after him, but Ty held me back. We searched until sunrise. Nothing, not a footprint, not a sound, just that silence. Ty and I were planning to hike out at dawn, pack up, and leave. But I never got the chance, because that's when I disappeared. I don't remember falling asleep. I don't remember leaving the tent. I just remember waking up, alone, inside a cave, cold stone under me, ripped clothes, my boots missing. And on the wall, scratched into the rock, was a name. Eli. The problem was, we didn't know anyone named Eli. That name wasn't on our permits, wasn't on any trail logs, nothing. But somehow I knew that name. I knew it meant something bad. I stumbled out of the cave, barefoot, bleeding, and wandered for what felt like days. 3 days later, a search party found me 12 miles from where we set camp. I was dehydrated, bruised, and covered in tiny scratches, like thorns or claws. The weird part? I hadn't eaten, but I wasn't starving. Like, something kept me alive. The ranger who picked me up was quiet the whole drive. When we got back to the station, he sat me down and said, "You weren't the first to go missing in those woods, and you won't be the last, but if you know what's good for you, don't talk about it." I asked him about the name. Eli. He looked at me like I'd just spoken a curse. Then he locked the door behind me and never said another word. Ty never found Jake. They closed the case within a week. But I know what I saw. I know what took us. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a man. And every so often, when the wind is right and the woods go silent, I still hear the voice calling, "Jake, help me." And sometimes it uses my voice.